in Canada, their albino maple trees actually secrete Buckleys instead of syrup. This is a Canadian staple, and I purchased it and smuggled it in Canada back to the United States. I'm just kidding. You can bring this back to the United States as well as anything from any country, as long as you bought it legally and it is not a controlled substance. And this here is Buckley's. Now, this is a cough medicine, and I presume it to be better than what we have in America. I haven't used this yet for a cough. However, I will this winter, and I'm very excited to try it out. If there's any pharmacists or pharmacy technicians or doctors or nurses or anything watching, this is a little bit less of a medication and more of a kind of, it's more homeopathic, but it's good. It's good, and I'll explain why. Solid Rapidament. No, I'm just kidding, that's the French, right? Because this is Canadian, they put French on their packages. Cough, congestion, a minor bronchial irritation. A lot of people get confused with congestion. This means congestion of the lungs, like you have a lot of gunk in there. I think a lot of people get that confused with like congestion in your nose. You know, your your sinuses. Because typically the sinus congestion is really what bothers people. And it even says right here, cough and congestion. I'm so excited to show this to you. 100 ml syrup. I don't remember how much this cost. I think like 10 Canadian dollars. Which I don't even know what that is in American. So this is one thing that confuses the heck out of me, and I don't like about the Canadian products, is that they put the French on here. That's okay. That's okay. But sometimes they will put the English and then the French all over the whole package. And sometimes they have an English front and a French back. And it's so confusing because I never know where to look for the English part. So that's what I'm trying to figure out here. Okay. So it looks like they do English and then French here. Yeah, okay. So I want to tell you about the ingredients here. Now, before we even get into this, in the United States, we have very strict packaging requirements, and Canada apparently does too, because I've seen quite a few Canadian products, and they all look very similar. However, it looks like to me our American packaging requirements are even more strict. For example, in America, if you list an ingredient as an active ingredient, you have to tell what it is, what its purpose is, and it does not do this on here. It says ammonium carbonate, and it just tells you the amount. It doesn't tell you what that actually does. few of these we use in the United States, a few of them we do not. First one, ammonium carbonate. We do not use this in the United States for cough, but other countries do. I have seen this before in like an Asian cough syrup I got one time. But the Asian cough syrup I got did not tell you how much of the ammonium was in the product. This at least does tell you 153 milligram per 5 ml. Now, ammonium is a detergent, or I guess you could call it a cleaning thing. So what the heck is it doing in here? Well, ammonium is kind of like an irritant. So when taking this, it can maybe cause your lungs to kind of tickle your lungs a little bit. And it creates a more productive cough. That's the theory anyway. Camphor and menthol are quite similar. Now, if you Google this, I know it'll tell you that it has some sort of antitussive property. You know, that may be true to some extent. But really, I think, this is just my professional opinion, both camphor and menthol, really what it's doing there is it just creates a soothing feeling. It smells nice. It has a cooling feeling when you take it down your throat. And it just makes you feel good pretty much. Does anyone know? I'm very curious about this. Look at the doses over here. They all have the dose, but for some reason camphor says 2.2 milligrams slash 2.2 milligram. Or, yeah, 2 milligram. Why does it do that? It's almost like they translated the English into French by replacing that period with a comma. But they don't do that for any of the other ingredients. Why do they do that? Does anyone have any clue? Just like the odd one out there. But anyway, yeah, it's more of a like soothing kind of feeling. And then the potassium bicarbonate, I have no idea what that's doing there. Again, if you Google it, it'll tell you that it has some sort of cough suppressing properties. But I honestly really don't know. That one just seems kind of odd to me, but whatever. And that's, by the way, something that would be clarified if this was an American product, because it would say over here what it's being used for, and it doesn't say that on here. Now, all that being said, what I really like about this and why I'm excited to try it, I don't really care so much about the ammonium. You know, maybe it'll help kind of make a cough more productive. I'm not really sure. I'll find out this winter. I also don't care about the potassium bicarbonate because, like I said, I don't even know what that's really doing there. But the camphor and the menthol are soothing, as I mentioned. And this is a very thick liquid. There's a lot of benefit to have by just taking a viscous liquid like this. And the fact that it has camphor and menthol in there makes it even more soothing. So we're like really getting it. This to me is just like a really soothing syrup. That's why I kind of said it's a little bit more homeopathy than medicine, but I really like that. And the reason why is because honey is good for cough, and probably because honey is very thick, and of course it's soothing in its own right, and it's very sweet and pleasant. So just having that pleasant feeling is really beneficial. It doesn't even really need to be pharmacologically active. In fact, if you look down here, I'll skip ahead here for a moment. It mentions that you can mix this with honey. If preferred, mix with equal parts honey. I like that. I am really excited to try this with honey this year. Uses temporary relief of coughs and congestion due to cold. Minor bronchial irritations. Weird because ammonium is an irritant, but whatever. Go off, king. Laryngitis, hoarseness, croupy cough. Minor irritations due to smoking, dust, or air pollution. I think that's very funny to me to see as an American it has like a remedy for smoking. Warnings. Ask a healthcare practitioner before use if you, and then we have to skip through all of the French. This is very hard to read. Are elderly, pregnant, or breastfeeding. Have heart, lung, kidney, or liver disease, asthma, take any other medications. And then it goes to the French. Stop use and ask a healthcare practitioner if underlying conditions requires continued use for more than 7 days. Cough worsens or persists for more than a week. If so, you may have an infection. That's why they put that there. Cough is accompanied by too much phlegm. You have a high fever or a persistent headache. You develop a rash. Generally well tolerated, honestly, I believe this would be. Directions. Do not take more than the recommended dosage. Adults and children 12 years and older shake well before using. Take 1 to 2 teaspoons every 2 to 3 hours. Do not take more than 50 ml in 24 hours. And then of course it says here again, if preferred, mix with equal parts honey. Other information. Keep and consult garden for important information for each use. Store at room temperature, 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. Security feature: do not use if sealed carton ends are broken or torn. This is broken or torn because I already opened it. It was perfect when I bought it. And then that's more French. Non-medical ingredients. Canada balsam. Balsam is also very soothing. So this is like quadruple soothing, especially if you mix it with honey. I like that. Carrageenan, glycerin, pine needle oil, propylparaben, sodium cyclamate, I believe is how you say that. Tincture of capsaicin. Oh, it has capsaicin in here. Interesting, that's like pepper, right? And water. Interesting. Buckley's company in Mississauga, Ontario. Trademark or licensed by GSK. That's GlaxoSmithKline. Very big pharmaceutical company all over the world. So we have this extra soothing syrup. Let me open this up so you can see it. Buckleys. Okay, so now it's got the French on this side and the English on this side. You see how it flips back and forth like that? It's very annoying, I think. But there really is no good way to put that's twice as much text, right? It's very difficult. And then it just has like the same ingredients here in the storage information. Let me get a little cup so I can show this to you. We have now a little cuppy cup. So let's open this bad boy up. And you can see how thick this is. Oh my gosh, I spilled it all over my thing. No, I just printed that out. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Wow, that is such a strong smell. It has a very earthy smell, and I was joking earlier whenever I said that this comes out of the albino maple tree as a syrup. But it really does have a, is this the correct word? Arborish scent to it, very tree-like. You can definitely smell the pine needle composition in here, for sure. And I, for one, am really into that. I thought this was going to be a darker color, but it's a very milky, translucent white. So it is very, very thick, as I mentioned, and that is what I really like. Whenever you swallow something very thick, it has something called a demulcent effect. And that feeling in and of itself can help with a cough. And that is why in the US, if I recommend a cough syrup, I don't like a lot of our cough syrups in the US, but if I recommend one, I typically push people towards a liquid, because simply taking a liquid and allowing that to coat your throat is in and of itself helpful, regardless of what the active ingredients are. This is going to be a great experiment for me this winter. I'm gonna take it with honey and without honey. Put a little honey there and mix it up with my strong hand. Do you guys know what that's from? Take my strong hand. Okay, enough screwing around. We have medicines to talk about here. I want to know if anyone is watching this. If you are Canadian, what has your experience been with Buckleys? Because so far, I have never heard a Canadian say they don't like Buckleys. It has only been positive. I have never heard anyone say I took Buckleys and it did not work. They very much do love this product, and I think it is for good reason. Wow, I'm actually really excited right now. I'm trying to figure out how I can get a cough sooner than later so I can try this out. Could you imagine? I mean, that's the type of stuff I do. I get so excited to try medications. I'll do just about anything to be able to try them out. I have tasted this before, and it has a very, very strong bite to it. Like, it's not pleasant. It's not a pleasant taste, but it definitely has a pleasant feeling, and that's what I really love about it. So, isn't that neat? You have a medicine that is more of a soother than anything. And I think we can all appreciate that. I don't think people want to be putting, like, all of these are very harmless, except for the ammonium, obviously, but I I'm assuming that this is at a concentration that is appropriate for human consumption, so we can just assume that all of these are pretty much harmless. And I think that's great. I don't think people, in most cases, want to put chemicals in their body that they don't have to. One of our cough medicines in the United States is dextromethorphan, and it's really not that great. It's not recommended by the American Academy of Family Physicians. And on top of that, dextromethorphan has interactions with antidepressants. So this would be a great alternative for somebody who's